All right. Good morning and happy Monday, everyone. I hope you all had a great weekend. And we are back to it. My favorite day of the week. But all right, we'll jump in, guys. I'm going to keep things short and sweet this morning. It's my dog's birthday. So I've got a few things to take care of here at home. And then I got to work on some stuff for the masterclass. But all right, we'll jump in. So first things first. If we look at the score sheet here, the spreadsheet for the scoring system, early signs of rotation last week. On the indices here, if you go back 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, every single day, SPX and the QQQ, they were the strongest indexes. Little shift last week where RSP, we got first place with 43 out of 60 points. The Dow Jones goes to second place with 42. And the S&Ps and the QQQ, a little drop off, 36 and 33, while the small caps continue to be the laggard with a negative 11. And then down here on the sectors, numero uno is XLC, the communication sector, 58 out of 60. XLY of 54. And then you've got biotech, XLP, and then XLK in the semis. 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago, every single day they were top two. 58 out of 60, 60 out of 60. Now XLK gets a 29, and the SMH gets a 26. Again, early signs of rotation. With that being said, no huge problems here for QQQ or the semis. If we go look at a daily chart for the Qs, no big problems, no huge issues. If anything, in the short term, maybe we got a little bit overbought. We had a big push off that 21 EMA. We came up here and we smooched the 3 ATR extension. All right, nothing's changed. Buy signal, the perfect score 12. But again, in the short term, maybe a spot where QQQ and big tech might need a little breather. Maybe a little back and forth chop, or potentially a pullback. Or potentially, they take the thing to 500 this week. But again, no problems. In the short term, maybe a little bit tuckered out. And same thing here for the SMH. Daily buy signal, perfect score 12. But we had a big move. And now maybe a pullback to our 21 EMA. I'm not saying we're going to get that pullback. If we do, I think it makes for a great buying opportunity. Right? The Broadcoms, the LRCXs, the NVIDIAs, the AMATs. I'd love to buy them a little bit lower. Selfishly, I'd love a pullback in big tech, and I'd love a pullback here in the semis. And then on the idea of rotation, if we go over here to XLC, it's got a good-looking daily chart. And we've also got the white dot squeeze here on the weekly. A+ squeeze setting up on the weekly chart. Over here for XLY, we've got a weekly squeeze setting up. We've got a pretty good-looking daily chart. Buy signals in a score of 12. And an A+ squeeze here on the 1 hour time frame. If XLC can fire that weekly squeeze, should be good for the communication stocks. If XLY can fire that 1 hour squeeze, should be a good thing for the XLY components. Mainly Amazon. And then a quick look here at XLP, the consumer staples. We've got the A+ squeeze setting up on the 2-day time frame. So the new addition to the system here, the white dot, that's the only thing you got to focus on. What the white dot tells me is, if I put the labels back on the chart here, we see big 3 squeeze labels. So these labels are basically my checklist, right? The checklist for the A+ squeeze. So now we get the white dot if we are above the trailing stop, if we've got the momentum criteria, the structure criteria, the trend criteria, the squeeze, the buy signal, and the perfect score at 12. That all gets displayed now in the white dot. So we can actually get rid of those labels and just focus on the white dots. Nice and simple. So yeah, I'm going to watch XLP. I'm going to keep an eye on XLY and XLC. And with that being said, we've got 3 open trades here in Google, Procter & Gamble, and Amazon. If we're thinking XLC, we're thinking Google. If we're thinking XLP, we're thinking Procter & Gamble. And Amazon, of course, would be XLY. So Google here, we've got the A+ squeeze on the 2-day time frame. For Procter, we have them on the 2-day, the daily, the 4-hour, and the 2-hour. And Amazon has one on the weekly and one here on the 4-hour. We'll do Google first. And we grabbed some calls on, I want to say, Thursday of last week. The key level this week, 180. We've got the spot gamble call wall at 180. They have to get it and keep it above that 180. Then I think they can take that 2-day squeeze, try to get a move going towards 185-ish. Best case scenario, they break it through that 180 call wall. And then tomorrow, Wednesday, at some point this week, we see the call wall go higher. If they could take the call wall to 185, then I think we've got another $5 or $6 in the tank here. We got the calls on the Google. And then for PG here, we grabbed some calls on Friday. White dots on the 2-day squeeze. The white dots on the daily squeeze. And we've got them here on the 2-hour. And we got them here on the 4-hour. Now, it'll be a bit more of a rotation thing. If the big money wakes up today and they're back to buying semis and they're back to buying the big tech, then the XLP names like Procter & Gamble, they might not work. But I do think if we get a bit more rotation, then this could work nicely. We got the calls here, and I'd like to play for a push towards 172 to 173-ish. And then for Amazon, all about the weekly squeeze and all about 190. Spot gamble call wall at 190. If they can get it and keep it above that call wall, then we see that call wall go higher, 195, 200. Then I think they can take this weekly squeeze, get another $5 or $10 of upside. $200, a big round number, a big sexy target, a big psychological level. If they can keep it above 190, then I think we're in good shape here. So we are along those 3. And then a few more I like. Let's go look at Microsoft. So for Microsoft, we got the A+ squeeze on a few different time frames here. We got it on the weekly, we got it on the 2-hour, we got it on the 15, and we got it on the 5. Now, as far as the weekly squeeze goes, we got the white dot there. I'd like to buy that on a pullback. I want to find the white dot squeeze. I want to take my entry as close to that 21 EMA as possible. That allows me to work a really good risk reward. I want to buy it around 420, 425, as opposed to buying it all the way up here at 450. Do I get the pullback? That I'm not too sure of. If I don't get the pullback, my next best option would be something like this 2-hour squeeze. All right, 2-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute, 15-minute. Find that lower time frame squeeze. Build my entry off that lower time frame squeeze. If the 5-minute fires, if the 15-minute fires, and the 2-hour squeeze fires, that can trigger a pretty good push. If they trigger a decent push, they might just wake up the beast here on the weekly. 450, of course, a big spot. through that 450. I think you're looking for 460, 465-ish. Again, I'd like to buy it on a pullback, but sometimes the market doesn't take into consideration what I would like to do. But I like Microsoft there, and then Netflix. We had a great trade on Netflix 2 weeks ago, and she looked like this on the watch list columns. Pretty much in your face, right? The daily, the 2 hour, the 1 hour, and the 30-minute. They all had the A+ squeeze. And since then, the daily squeeze fired. Right now, the spot gamma call wall sits at 700. In a good market, I think Netflix gets to 700. For today's session, we have the white dot setting up here on the 2 hour squeeze. You get a better entry around 680, 675. But if they can fire that 2 hour squeeze, if we got a good market, there might be another 10 or 15 bucks of upside here for the big Netflix. All right, so Netflix, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Procter & Gamble. And then on Qualcomm here, brand new daily squeeze and a brand new white dot. The thing about Qualcomm or Broadcom, AMAT, etc., they're going to follow the SMH. If we pull up the SMH here, we're getting a little pullback. There might be room for a bit more down to about 255. If they want to take down the price and bring that back down to that 21 EMA. Point being, if the SMH goes down another 10 bucks or so, I would think in the short term, Broadcom, Qualcomm, Nvidia, etc., they might go a little bit lower as well. What I would love to see, bring down the SMH a little bit more, back test the 21 EMA, and then we find some good support. The structure holds. We keep on printing the buy signal. We've got the perfect score at 12 after a back test of that daily 21. Then I'd be a bit quicker to buy something like a Qualcomm, where you've got the squeeze and you've got that white dot. But we'll keep an eye on that one, and we'll keep an eye on all the above. Aside from that, let's take a quick look here at the economic calendar. And for the most part, not too much this week. We got a few Fed speakers. Whoa. $1 per week, huh? It's a little bit out of my budget. But yeah, we got a few Fed speakers. Thursday, we have the jobless claims. We've got the GDP revision. And then Friday, we've got the PCE report. So a few things that could shake the tree. But no JP. No Powell this week. But all right, y'all, that's what I got for you. Early signs of rotation last week. That could continue this week. It could all come to a screeching halt. They could go right back to big tech and big semis, or the entire market could fall apart. Right. And everything in between. But if we get a bit more rotation towards communications, XLY, XLP, then I like Amazon, Google, and Procter. Alrighty. So any questions, anything you want to take a look at? We'll hang out for another 10, 15 minutes or so. And then I've got to go to a very quick birthday party. A birthday for the beans. Claudia, Meta? Let's go take a look at Meta. A little gap up this morning. Now on the daily chart here, Meta's looking pretty solid. Back above the 50, back above the 21 EMA. Better yet, 21 EMA back above the 50. Brand new buy signal, momentum above 0, and a respectable score of 10 out of 12. Good looking daily chart. And now the key would be, can we find an A plus squeeze? Can we go find a squeeze with all the bells and the whistles? We got a weekly, that's neutral. We got a 4 hour, that's neutral. So no A plus squeeze just yet. But I want to go check out the weekly. All right, the weekly squeeze. I think the only thing missing here, the only thing keeping that from being the A plus squeeze, would be the momentum line back above zero. If they can get momentum back through zero, then we get a weekly buy signal. Then we get the brand new A plus squeeze. And the last time that Meta had the white dot here on the weekly, that triggered a move from 300 to about 500 and change. Not too shabby. Nothing to sneeze at. Good morning, Lester. Lester has TTD. All right, TTD. On that bad boy, you've got the A plus on the daily. Let's go check it out. Solid. Very solid. Trend is bullish. Structure is bullish. Squeeze, buy signal, momentum. The perfect score. Doesn't mean that TTD has to work and break out. But until you lose that white dot, it's got the characteristics of what could be a nice daily squeeze. So I do like that one. Yeah, GRL, NVIDIA. I think I've heard of that one. Let's see, NVIDIA. NVIDIA is squeezeless. It's a very sad thing to see when you've got no squeeze. We got one on the 5-minute. She's got a 5-minute squeeze, folks. NVIDIA down about $3 this morning. Bid and ask of about $1.23. Again, I don't think it'll be an NVIDIA thing. I think it'll be a bit more in the short term, potential rotation out of leadership. Right, and leadership has been tech and semis, possibly into a few of the laggards. I don't think it'll be an NVIDIA thing. I think it'll be a bit more of an SMH kind of thing. And like I said, if SMH has to go down to 255-ish, we got to get that full pullback to our 21 EMA. Bigger picture, at some point, that can make for a great buying opportunity. Kind of like back here. You get the initial push. You get the back test of the 21. You get another leg higher. If they can bring it down a bit more, eventually we're getting some better setups and some better entries. But yeah, in the short term, the SMH goes a little lower. NVIDIA, Broadcom, Micron, AMAT, etc. They probably go a little bit lower as well. So key level here for NVIDIA, $1.20. If they can keep it above 120, I don't think anything's changed. You had one hell of a push, right, from $90 to $1.40. I think a pullback to our 21 EMA. Eventually, we're getting a much better entry and maybe some new squeezes. I'm just throwing this out there, but imagine a brand new daily squeeze for NVIDIA. I would be interested. I, for one, would be interested. Daniel, can I check out Dick's? Be an adult, Taylor. No jokes. Dick's Sporting Goods. The 1 hour. Yeah, there you go. Squeeze, white dot, the perfect score of 12, A plus setup. Doesn't mean that Dick's Sporting Goods explodes, But until that changes, that's a pretty good looking 1 hour squeeze. I've got to like that. All right, a few more here, then I'll jump over to YouTube. Micron. No squeeze here for Micron. We had the white dot back here. Nice move off that squeeze. And we have earnings. Earnings on Wednesday. With earnings on Wednesday, I probably wouldn't do too much here for now. Let it get through earnings, then come back and take a fresh look. They might gap it up. They might gap it down. It might be a big nothing burger. But I would hold off until at least earnings are over. A few more days. Douglas, Triple M. Very solid. 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, and 30-minute A plus squeeze. With a daily squeeze, that's not too far off. 4 hours sitting pretty. 2 hours sitting pretty. The 1 hour and the 30. You've got the quadruple. The quadruple A plus squeeze. Very, very rare. I like it. I like it. Hey, what's up, Nathan? Yeah, JC's book is one of the top, I'd say top 3 or 4 trading books. You got Mastering the Trade, Trading in the Zone, the Best Loser Wins, and then I also like Mark Minervini's books. Those are my top 3 or 4. All right, folks on YouTube, good morning. My man Terry, ATM win. The IWM. So one thing here about the small caps, they've got a crap load of squeezes. Weekly, 3-day, 2-day, daily, 4 hour, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30-minute, and the 15-minute. What that tells us is the small caps are building up a lot of energy. It's going through the compression phase on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different time frames. That tells us at some point the IWM here is fixing the bust and move. Then we got to figure out, all right, is that more likely to be a move higher or a move lower? And that's where the indicator and the scoring system comes into handy. So if we check the weekly squeeze here, no buy signal, no white dot. It's not an A plus squeeze, but with a big 3 score of 7 out of 12, it leans a little bit bullish. Not super bullish, but it leans a bit bullish. If we drop down and check the 3-day squeeze, very neutral. That gets a score of 3 out of 12. The 2-day squeeze gets a 1 out of 12. And the daily squeeze gets a -3. From my point of view, from my perch, that does make it a little bit of a tough read. Where if every time frame had a buy signal and a score of 12, okay, cool. At that point, I'm thinking we're buying it. At that point, I'm thinking much better chance they take all the squeezes here, and they get a move going towards the upside. Or the opposite. We've got a bunch of sell signals. We got scores of -12. All right, well, then I'm thinking a much better chance they all fire short. The neutral nature of it right now, in the short term at least, that does make calling for direction a little bit tough. Not crazy bullish, not crazy bearish. It's a little bit more neutral. What I do in that situation is sit back and wait for a bit more clarity. Do I start getting more buy signals? Do I start getting more sell signals? Do I get any help from the indicator as far as trying to call for a big direction? Spotify, the spot. Few squeezes here: 3-day, 2-day, daily, 4-hour, 2-hour, with the 30-minute squeeze being A plus. We got the white dot here on the 30-minute squeeze. The daily squeeze not A plus, but also not bad. Respectable score of 10. 2-day squeeze gets a 10, and the 3-day squeeze also gets a 10. What I would do for now is just anchor to the 30-minute squeeze, meaning take your entry and your exit based on that 30-minute time frame. Right now, that one has all the trend, structure, and momentum criteria. The 30-minute on the spot. All right, a few more here, guys. I got to hit the road. Carvana. No A plus squeeze here for Carvana. However, the daily squeeze, it's getting very close. The trend is good. The structure is good. They've got to get that momentum across. So take the MACD line on the big 3 squeeze. Pull that bad boy back through 0. Give the bulls a fresh tank of gas. Then I think you might be off to the races here. So it's not A plus just yet, but we are about one or two steps away, on the cusp of A plus. And then Coinbase here. So Bitcoin's kind of getting smacked. The spanking of the Bitcoins. If we check out the BTC here, down a cool 5% this morning. Down goes BTC. Typically down goes Coinbase, Mara, MSTR, etc., etc. For coin here, in the short term, your lower time frames, right, 30-minute up to a daily time frame, they're getting a little bit suspect. No more daily buy signal. Price ends up under the 50 and under the 21. Momentum crosses negatively. Is it the perfect short? Not at all. I wouldn't go short a 1 out of 12, but I also want to be in a big rush to buy a 1 out of 12. And then on the weekly squeeze, that one's actually pretty bullish. Granted, it's a brand new weekly squeeze, so that might need a little bit more time, and potentially that might need to pull back down to about 212-ish. So bigger picture versus shorter term. Bigger picture, if they can hold price above 211, 212, if they can hold price above that weekly 21 EMA, they are chipping away here at a pretty good looking weekly squeeze. Shorter term, the daily time frame down to the 30-minute time frame, they've got some issues here. Structure is getting broken. Momentum goes negative. We've got some sell signals. They can't do anything with that good-looking weekly squeeze until the bulls can clean up our lower time frames. So Coinbase, Mara, MSTR, Riot, GBTC. In the short term, I'd be a little bit patient with these ones. And then Palantir, real quick. 9:15. All right, Palantir, A plus squeeze on the 3-day. So therefore, I would watch the 3-day squeeze. Yeah, Claudia, one to keep an eye on. What do I think of EA in XLC? Let's go find out. EA. A plus on the 4 hour and the 1 hour. All right, let's do our quality control test. The weekly chart gets a 10. 3-day gets a 9. The 2-day gets a 12. And the daily gets a 10. So it's all pretty bullish. Then we drop down to the 4 hour. And we've got the A plus squeeze. Squeeze, buy signal, momentum, trend, structure. You got the white dot. If they keep the white dot, they can do some good things. And then same thing here on the 1 hour. Good call outs here, guys. Good stuff. All right, quick look here at the futures, and we'll call it a session. And for all of you here in the Essentials room, I will be back at 10:30 a.m. Central. All right, the NQ down about a third. Again, bigger picture versus shorter term. Bigger picture, the daily chart is as bullish as possible. Big 3 score of 12. The weekly chart is bullish as possible. Buy signal and a big 3 score of 12. Shorter term time frames, 2 hour down to the 5 minute. We've got nothing but sell signals. All right, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute, 15 minute, 5 minute sell signals. Bigger picture versus shorter term. Shorter term, from the ground up, from the inside out. If we have nothing but a sell signal, that points towards potentially, a bit more room for the downside. The bigger time frame is being bullish. That tells us, all right, if I get a bit more downside in the short term, that all might make for a great buying opportunity. A buying opportunity based on my bigger time frames. S&P futures are basically flat. Couple sell signals, a 5 minute and a 2 hour, but not nearly as many as the NQ. Dow Jones futures, the YM. A little bit of green here in the YM. A little bit of green and a daily 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minute buy signal. The tiniest of pre-market rotation. And then the IWM futures, the rut, they are flat with a 4 hour and a 1 hour buy signal and a 5 minute sell signal. Now, it's just a pre-market action. But again, keep an eye on that theme here today and throughout the week. If there's a bit of selling in the semiconductors, a little bit of selling in the tech names, that could pull the entire market back. Or if we get a bit more rotation, right, out of tech into XLP, out of SMH into XLY, XLC, it doesn't mean the S&Ps explode higher, but the QQQ can pull back a bit, while the S&P is a bit more, they keep the ship afloat. If we don't get rotation, then we can get a bigger pullback. Alrighty, as always, folks, thank you for all your time and effort this morning. I appreciate y'all being here. For those of you in the Essentials room, I will see you again this afternoon. For those of you in the Mastery, I will keep you posted on Proctor, Amazon, and the Google. And for the good folks on YouTube, I will see you again, same time, same channel, Wednesday morning. Have a great Monday. Have a great week. Go kick some ass, and I'll talk to y'all soon.